Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to T's Time. TJ, thank you for tuning in. Today, we're gonna do a starter on a 2008 Freightliner MT-45 6.7 liter Cummins ISB. The starter is coming, but I'm gonna get it start. I'm gonna get it going. I have to remove it. So I'm gonna remove it, and I'll probably most likely bring it with me to compare. And then also, there is a cord charge when you do get a starter, so you could get your cord charged back at that time. But I usually prefer not to get it back until I actually install the new one. And like, we're just gonna confirm. But yesterday, like, I did my remote start, it started, but then I heard a pop, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that pop was. So then the following day, I go to start it, to leave, to go do what I need to do, and it didn't start. There's no click, there's no nothing, and I'll actually show you that right now. You turn the key and nothing happens. I believe the starter is shot. I checked the fuses, the relays, all that stuff. The only thing I didn't check for was the solenoid that's next to like your grid heater solenoids. Those should be it should be good, but like, you never should assume. You should test. But I'm pretty much sure that it's the starter, so I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna get it out of there. It's about like 200,000 miles or so on it. Yeah, and that's why also you keep your keep your old parts until you get your new stuff installed, and that's good to go. Don't just give up your old parts right away. But anyways, let's get to it. I'll show you me trying. Well, I'm not going to show you me trying to start it. It doesn't make any noise at all whatsoever. No click, no nothing. I tried banging on a little bit with a wrench earlier. That didn't do anything, so I'm gonna remove it now. But before you do, disconnect your battery before you deal with any kind of electrical, because there is positive and negative. You can ground and short stuff out, so you don't want to do that. So disconnect your battery and make sure the power, the juice is gone. All right, and that is the starter right there. The Denso number. We got some looks like Torx heads that hold that on. But this is why we disconnect our power. We have to disconnect these wires right here. You also make sure you don't ground or short anything out. So you have to disconnect that. You have to disconnect up top where the starter solenoid is up in here. Disconnect everything that has a wire going somewhere else other than that's attached to the starter, so you can get that out. And I believe there's I believe there's 2 or 3 bolts like this, one here and the one up top. So definitely get an extension. But first things first, we're gonna get this off right here. And this is actually the ground wire, and that red right here, that's the positive that goes to our starter solenoid up near the firewall, the red cable you see going in there. So we just have to get those removed, and then just take the starter, and then we should be good to go. All right, so it looks like we're gonna use a 10 point, or not a 10 point, but a 12 point 10 millimeter to remove the mounting bolts. And then for the wires, it appears to be a 17 millimeter. Let's confirm that real quick. A 17. And a 17. Yes. All right, I know it's kind of tight, it's kind of hard to record, but for the ground, we have these 3 cables right here, and they connect to this bolt right here. And up top where I was disconnecting, there's 2 positives, this one right here, and then also that one right there. So those go on that post that are up there. So right now, everything is disconnected, and also you have this plug right here. That needs to come off like that. I used a screwdriver, it didn't come off that easy, but that comes off. And then you just have to disconnect the mounting bolts, and then once you disconnect the mounting bolts, it should come right out. You might have to hit it with a hammer a little bit to get it to come out, but like it should come right out. But I'm trying to record, it's kind of tight. Light isn't the best down here, so excuse that. But yeah, so right now I believe it's 2 mounting bolts. If there's more than that, I'll let you know, but I believe there's 2. One right here, and directly opposed on the other side up top, there's another one, and that's a 10mm 12 point. Okay, so it's out. And I'm like, oh, whoa, there goes Frazier. All right, so it's out. So like I said up top, I said there was 2. There's actually 3 positive cables that go off of it, and 3 grounds also. So just keep that in mind and make sure you know which places and where they were. And this is the old starter. It's out. I'm gonna continue on with my day. The part should be here tomorrow. Whenever I get the part, I'll get this thrown in. And also, it's always a good practice to put like your bolts that you disconnected back on their terminal, so you know exactly where they go for next time. Make life a little easier. So collect all your hardware, and it was actually 2 mounting bolts that I was holding this on, the 12.10mm. All right, and we're back with the correct starter. This is starter number 2. The first start I ordered from, let's just say, said supplier. I gave them the VIN number. They gave me a part number. The part number wasn't the correct part number for the vehicle. Not necessarily their fault. It's just like I've been having issues just in general with finding parts, especially like when I did the brakes and stuff. It took me 3 sets of rotors to get the right one, just because it's kind of like a assembled Lego type vehicle. Freightliner is the chassis, Utilimaster is the body, so things don't necessarily always match up. So the best order of business is to just remove the part that's broken and match up the part numbers, which we have here. We have a Denso. The part numbers match exactly the same. Terminals match up and everything like that. Our clips, our connectors, everything is exactly the same. So you don't have to worry about trying to cut and splice. The starter that they did give me, it had 3 mounting holes versus like the 2. We have like 1 and 2 that mounted to the vehicle. The one I got had 3, even like the splines for where the flex plate / flywheel are between the block and the transmission were different count, and everything else, even like the width right here. So it wasn't even like a universal part. It was just completely wrong part for the for Percy's van here. But we have the right part. It's raining, as you might be able to pick up. I'm trying to work fast. I'm gonna get cardboard laid down, just because you don't want like water to absorb through your clothes. Rather than go through the cardboard, the quicker you work, the drier you will be. But I do have some copper anti-seize right here to go on the mounting bolts, the 2 mounting bolts that go like here and on the opposing side, just so it doesn't seize and you don't have to worry about it snapping off in the future, because as you can see, there is some oxidation, corrosion on that. So I already went ahead and I do have anti-seize on that. So that way we don't have an issue in the future. And also we do have terminal corrosion prevention. So when I get these wires and everything connected on here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna spray it down with this just to kind of protect it, since the wires are out in the elements on the bottom of the van. So we have that. I'm gonna get things set up, get cardboard down. We're gonna get this thrown in. It's installed as reverse of removal. The 2 bolts right here, you have your ground and you have your positive. 3 wires or 3 cables going to each terminal. Get those on, make sure these are tight. And a plug-in right here for your solenoid switch, and there are 2 mounting bolts. So it's getting mounted first, and then we'll worry about getting our wires on. And then once the wires and everything are on, we'll go ahead and spray it down with the corrosion stuff, just to kind of help corrosion and oxidation of the terminal, so there's no resistance to the wires. But that's where we're at right now. Let me get set up and get this going. All right, the new one's in. Before I spray the anti-corrosive on those terminals, I want to make sure it actually works. You don't want to like spray it down and then have to return it. Oh, you used it, blah, 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 blah. Save yourself a headache. We're gonna go start it, or try to attempt to start it. We have our terminals connected. Make sure you have your terminals on the right post. Positive to positive, negative to negative. Reconnect your battery. Hopefully you disconnect your battery beforehand, because you definitely will arc and spark taking the terminals off, especially if you have like live, like your power cables up there and they ground out. But right now we're gonna go connect our batteries and start. So I'll see you up top. All right, in the moment of truth. And we're back in business. Yeah, so I took a little bit with parts and everything else like that, but I'm glad it's in. It seemed like a little stronger start anyway. I don't know if it's a placebo effect when you put a new part in, like, oh, it's gotta be better, but I don't know. Right now I'm gonna get everything cleaned up, and like I said, definitely put your anti-corrosive spray on your battery terminals, and like when you run it, it'll probably be best to like just double check, make sure you have everything tight. You don't want power cables to come loose, and you don't want them to short themselves, anything else like that. You want to make sure all that stuff is good. But yeah, old starter's out, sitting over there, and depending on where you order your stuff from, I didn't have to pay a core charge. Depending on where you go, you do have to pay a core charge. But the way I did it, I ordered it from the place I usually get it from. There was no core charge, and if I had to try to get it locally, even like the wrong starter, even though they said it was the right one, that was like $140 more. So we save money. Just verify your part numbers, the most important thing, and just make sure you work safely. Do not electrocute yourself, especially work on electrical stuff. But it's cold. It's Sunday. I don't have to work, or I do have to work tomorrow, but I'm done at an early time where I'm gonna go chill for a little bit, relax, probably get this video edited up and get this up. But yeah, I'll catch you next time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, like with the torque specs, I did good and tight. I just kind of used my torque wrench that's in my wrist to kind of like compare it to like when I removed it. I tried to put it around about the same, good and tight. You don't want to like over torque, especially like on these terminals. You don't want to snap these off, especially like in there on a solenoid. So definitely don't go crazy with the torque spec on that, or with your good and tight. It just needs to be snug, and that's why I said even just like after like maybe like a week, go back and just double check your terminals, make sure everything is still snug. But until next Wednesday or next video, I don't even know if this is a Wednesday thing, it's just whenever the videos come up. Just be proactive in looking up your part numbers and verifying part numbers. Just because the VIN number says it's the right part doesn't necessarily mean it'll be the right part, especially depending on the type of vehicle that you're working on. Like with this vehicle, we definitely need to like remove parts and get part numbers off them, like we're removing, especially like stuff like that. There has been some things that like matched up, but yeah. So until next video, do your due diligence and do your research. Peace, DJ.